Hi YouTube, it's Diane. I know it's been a while. It's been well before Christmas. It's almost 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Today is the 25th of January. I didn't mean to go this long, but life is what life is. Past week I've been nice hair. I've been fighting some, I don't know what it is, but I came home and from an errand and I just had this massive headache. And I do not normally get headaches. I know people do deal with headaches. I'm thankful I don't have to, but I did, and I just laid in bed and I was miserable. So it's been a fun week. And I thought maybe I was the only one who got this, whatever this is. See, maybe Wednesday night? Yeah, I think today's Friday. Wednesday night, or early yesterday morning, whatever, my husband comes in our bedroom and says, I think our son has appendicitis. He's going to have surgery. You got to take him to the ER. I jump out of bed, get dressed. We took him to the ER, or I took him to the ER, and not that my husband is incapable, it's just, it's not a situation he's comfortable in. And so I took him in. They ran a bunch of tests, and it was not appendicitis, thankfully. So we came home. We got home at 4 in the morning. Yeah. And this is the son that had the bloody noses last October. You really can't keep your mom out till 4 in the morning, bud. But no, he was in so much pain, and he was pale, and he's typically darker complexion, definitely darker than me. But he was pale, and he was shaky, and he was crying. He's 14, 14-year-olds don't cry in front of their mom. So it's like, okay, we're going in. And the doctors even agreed, under the situation, they even thought it was appendicitis. And then they ran blood work and ultrasound and all that, and it was not. He's feeling much better. He's still tired. Both of us were tired. I mean, I slept yesterday. I'm like, you know what? You guys you're on your own. My husband stayed up until we got home. He kept texting me, okay, what's going on? And so both of us were very tired. And it was not appendicitis. One of our sons did have appendicitis when he was 7. So, there are times surgery is needed. So my week has just been totally whew. And then in Minnesota today, we're supposed to, right now, last time I checked, we were at 3 above. Or that's going to be the high today. Yeah, it's going to be the high. We were at 5 below at the time I checked. Next week, Tuesday, we are supposed to be, our high of the day is 8 below in Fahrenheit. I have no idea what it'd be in Celsius. So yeah, it's gonna be cold. It's Minnesota, it's January, what do I expect? Other life updates. My daughter has her appointment next Tuesday, of course, so I have to be out and about in the cold. I have no idea how that's going to go. Things that we were told would happen are not going to happen. So my daughter's a little frustrated with that. Her last day of radiation was the day after Christmas, or Boxing Day. And she's very glad to be done with radiation. She got tired, but overall, she said radiation went really, really well. Her hair is starting to grow back. It's really, 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 really short. Kind of buzz cut short. It's coming in darker than, more like my husband's before he went gray. He had very, very dark hair. And I should find our picture I have a picture of him shortly before we started dating. But if you call going out with 30 people in college to a restaurant dating, but whatever. So we're not sure if it's going to be chemo curl or what. Mozzie and Stormy can't be outside very much because it's so cold. I don't want them freezing their paws. So I tell the kids, you let them out, you time for 10 minutes. You bring them back in unless they're pottying back and they want in, you let them in. So needless to say, I got 1-year-old puppies who have a lot of energy too. But let's do a little stash here. I have been on the fence about Shazzy C's PDF journal, and so finally, the week before Christmas, I took the plunge. One of the things that was holding me back is my schedule. With my daughter's chemo and doctor's appointments, and I just didn't have time. If I buy it, I want to sit down and use the pages and everything. So I finally took the plunge, and I am very, very glad that I did. If you are not sure what journal I'm talking about, I will link the Facebook group below, and I will link Stitcherista's review and Teresa Little Stitcher's review of this journal. I think Stitcherista got hers in an A5 size, because there are 4 sizes: A5 or A4, A5, letter size, and Happy Planner. Teresa received the Happy Planner, and I thought Stitcherista received A5. I purchased the letter size because as a homeschooler, I have binders and page protectors and all of that. So I printed off a number of the pages. What I did for the dividers is I printed them off on a different color paper and just put those in a page protector. And I have a sticky here because you could rearrange the binder however you want. And I'm not quite sure if your daily record pages should go before whips or before checklists. I'm sorry, my lighting. In this room, the lighting is weird, no matter what I do. I'm trying not to have glare off my glasses, but it is what it is. So I put stickies on for little tabs, so then I can kind of fiddle. And then when I figure out the order I want the pages in, I will put more permanent, you can buy permanent type of tabs. But that's what I have done. I bought the letter size. The main difference in the sizes, obviously, is the paper size, but she didn't just shrink the font. So if you get a smaller paper, you have to use a microscope to read it. No. She did different layouts for different sizes. And what I mean is, let's say in the letter size, and the one I have, one of the checklists is maybe the DMC one, maybe it's a different one. It takes 3 pages. In an A5, which is like half the size roughly of a letter size, if I remember my sizes right, it may take 5 pages for that particular checklist. So she did a lot of work to make sure that the sizes were right, and you didn't just make everything smaller. She did a little different layout. For me in America, the total cost was less than $15 US dollars. She asked that you pay in pounds, British pounds, but then there was a PayPal fee or something in there, but it was less than $15. And if you went to Barnes & Noble or what have you and bought a really nice journal, or even spent the time to make your own, that $15, I would exceed that. I'd probably spend 3 times as much making my own. As I've used these pages, I have not printed off every single page. There are a few that I know I'm not going to use because I do not have a business or that type of interaction, so I don't need that type of page. But the page I'm going to be looking at the most for this video and referring to as I'm looking down is the flosstube page, and I've just been taking notes. So that's what I'm going to be looking at the most. But in my opinion, I should have done this earlier. And I've been doing a few pages at a time. So that's what I'm going to be referring to. My background here is my tree skirt. This one I did quilt. It is this vintage Christmas fabric, and then the corners are cut that way, and then this red here is you go around the tree. I don't remember how many years I've had this now, but it's Missouri Star Quilt Company. I'll link that video too. So where did I put my pen? Okay, hold please. Okay, my pen walked away, but I have another one. So let's jump in. I have been stitching, although when I was sick, with that headache, I just could not focus. So I did not stitch on those days. But I have been stitching. Quilt Company. And I've been stashing too. I mentioned I wanted 5 new starts for the 5 Tuesdays in January. And so far I've started 4 of them. But when you start things and you start kitting them up and then you come across other patterns, let's just say I'm doing more starts than that. Maybe not all in January, but I have other starts. So I think that's where we'll start. Yeah. This one, Meridian Designs, Palawan Peacock Pheasant. She's gorgeous. I started her on the 1st. 32 count Belfast Arctic by Picture This Plus. And that's it. I know it's not much. First of all, this needle that I used in this one, it needs to go. When I pick this up again, it needs a different needle. Because that one was horrible. It was a horrible needle. But I was also obsessed with finishing another piece, but I committed to start this on the 1st. So that's why I only did one length in there. So it's not much, but that's okay. On the 8th, I will admit I'm not a Minnesota Vikings fan. I just have this sweatshirt, and on a cold day like today, you want a sweatshirt on. The 8th, I started Buzz Off Plum Street Samplers. I love this. This is how I felt about 2018. Summed up right there. I didn't get very far on him because, again, I was obsessed with finishing that other piece. But I'm stitching this on 36 count cream. So there's his head. He's looking at you. But he should fit on this half, and on this other half, the companion piece to that one is Eat Crow, which I also have kitted up. Between those 2 patterns, there are only 11 colors between those 2 patterns. And I am mostly using the DMCs. There might be a few that I use in overdyed, otherwise I'm just going to use the DMC. And this is the companion guy, Eat Crow. I haven't started him yet, but he is one of those I'm going to be starting. 15th, or actually, I don't know why I didn't on the 15th. Something was going on the 15th, and I just didn't stitch it all that day. But on the 16th, I started this one, Bloom of Hope. I've stitched this for my daughter in violets for Hodgkin's lymphoma. I am restitching it in pinks. This calls for 3 DMC pinks, 3 green DMCs, and 3 water lilies. When I looked at the water lilies, I didn't see a lot of variegation. I do like stitching with silk, and water lilies is silk, so I chose to use Soie Crystal. It's also by Karen Collection, but they're more solid. And my lips look really blue, but they're not. Sorry, I'm with this whatever bug, my mind is that way. And I tried to homeschool Wednesday, and I overdid it. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to start next week again. On this one, I like the border, but I'm not doing the words on this one for my mom. But I'm going to bring the border here and here, because I like the border. I think it really complements the flower. And instead of the pink DMCs, which are in the ribbon, I'm just going to use the pink silks also in the ribbon and the border. So it'll be, all the pink will be DMC, or excuse me, all of the pink will be Soie Cristal, and all the greens will be DMC. And a reminder, this is the one I did for my daughter in the violets. So I convert all the pinks to violet because that is the ribbon color for Hodgkin's lymphoma. But I really like that border. And so I'm going to just shrink it. Because my mom is at the point where she's a cancer survivor and my daughter's not quite there yet. It's on the same fabric, 28 count Jobelin, Water Lily. And show you where I am at. This stitches up really nicely and very quickly. And here is where I'm at. So I brought the border down so far, and then I'm going to work on the flower, and then at the bottom of the flower I'll do the bottom of the border, and then I will connect them. What may not be visible is this border actually staggers itself out in the pattern anyway, so I will do that. But I'm liking how it's turning out. So, sorry, my nose, floss tube, itchy nose. But yeah, it's stitching up. I'm thinking I might stitch it again for a friend who's fighting appendix cancer. And appendix cancer is, the ribbon color is bright orange. Where did I put I'm not sure where I put the bag. Oh, I will find my stuff later, apparently. Oh. We can all blame Jessie Marie for itchy nose. And this one is one of those I came across and I was already kitted, and I'm like, I might as well start this. Blackbird Designs, Dear Daughter. It is very washed out in the photo. I'm converting it. 36 count natural. Here. I'm using, I lost my needle. Oh joy. I am using overdyes from my own collection. But I'm also changing the colors. My daughter is not a pink person. She likes blue. So I'm going to change a lot of these pink flowers here and accents to blues. And I haven't picked out. But when you convert something, just kind of make sure I don't step on a needle, as you're stitching you may change the colors. And it also doesn't help that it's really dry because it's January in Minnesota. And then the one I started on the 22nd is the drawn thread, the Simply Seasons, where I'm doing all 4 on one piece of fabric, and it is 36 count Fog by Picture This Bless, and I almost lost my needle again. Me and needles are not friends today, apparently. And so I started this on Tuesday, and I have 2 colors completely done. Now this one here is Cucumber. It's the called for color because I happen to have it. This one is a Carrie's creation, and I am, see, it's supposed to be Freedom by Gentle Arts, but I changed it to Cobalt Blue. And then there are 8 8 colors total, so I have 2 of them completely done, and these are the ones that they're the most used. I do realize I'm going to be stitching this alphabet 4 times, but to be honest, it's a small alphabet and it went really quickly. I did this alphabet yesterday. Or, no, I guess I had like here done and then I finished the rest yesterday. So it stitches up really quickly. So I started with winter at the top, and they started with autumn at the top. For me, you know, January, Minnesota. So those are the new starts that I've had so far. Although I did start my family tree. I started the 3rd cottage. Yeah, you're not going to see much there. So I've got the first 2 cottages. So this one is on my radar. I want to get that 3rd cottage done by the end of the month, which is possible as long as I don't get more sick. I'm sicker. I do not know where I put that, and it's bugging me. Oh, it's sitting right there in front of me. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, let's talk stash a little bit. I had, let's see, my notes, Dan, that's why you wrote them. We had a really good Christmas. All the kids were home, including our Marine. And it was just really nice to have everybody home. I realized, you know, 14 kids, that's not always going to happen. There are going to be some years where, you know, I don't see some of them at Christmas time. But it was really nice to have everybody here. Stitcher Beast. Oh, it must be Stitcher Beast. I misspelled Danielle's channel name. Oops. In my notes. I usually don't have notes like this, so it's new to me. But I had to take my Marine back to the airport on the 5th of January, and for the see you laters. See you laters are never easy. I mean, you try and suck them up, but my husband said, okay, after you drop them off, why don't you go to Stitchville? He had wanted for Christmas to get me a gift certificate to Stitchville, but just didn't have time. What he did get me stitching wise instead was I have another one of these. And there's a reason, I'll talk about that. So being the dutiful wife, I obeyed my husband and I went to Stitchville. And then on the 12th, I had an opportunity to go and meet up with Joan and Kelly and some other really, really nice ladies. And we stitched. And we also went to Stitchville. And on the 5th, I had ordered a piece of fabric. It was not in on the 12th, but it was in, and I picked it up on the 19th. So I've been to Stitchville 3 Saturdays in a row. So my stash is going to reflect that. It doesn't normally happen. But on the 19th, on the 12th, Kelly and Joan and I were talking sewing, you know, sewing setup. And Kelly had a cupboard that she wasn't using for sewing anymore, and so she said, hey, you come pick it up, it's yours. And so my sons and I did, and that's what you guys are all sitting on right now. I haven't actually sewn on it because I just haven't had the energy, but it's gonna work nice for my needs. It will work really nice. So thank you, Kelly. It's a good, oh, wow. Yeah. This is such a good community to encourage each other. Let's talk stash. Before Christmas, I was on the stash unloading cross stitch only group. I am a member, and a lady posted some mirabilias that she had found. I can't remember if it was a estate sale or a store that closed, and so she was selling them, and I looked through, and there were 3 patterns that I was interested in, and said, well, I'd like these 3. And there was some kind of confusion or, you know, technical glitch or some kind. I don't remember the whole story. But she said, oh, that one was supposed to be a different pattern. Do you want that pattern instead? I already owned that pattern. It was a Mermaid of the Pearls, and I already owned that one. And I said, oh no, I'll just take the other two. That's fine. And these are the two that I ordered, Titania and Lily of the Woods. So I just finished this one on one of the groups. And I can't remember the fabric they put her on, but wow, absolutely stunning. Well, the seller was so nice, and she said, I just feel bad about this. I said, oh, it happens. It happens. And as before, invoices and all of that, so no money, and so she graciously tracked down this one, Enchanted Mermaid, which was the third piece that I wanted, and she gifted it to me. And I do not know if she watches my videos, but thank you, Kay. You know who you are. I really, really appreciate that. I also received this in December, Bliss. I've ordered Faith, but it hasn't come yet. That one I actually have to keep out. And then on the 5th, when I went, I picked up this because Stitchville still had it. I don't think they have them anymore. I know this is out of print. I do not think this is available anymore through Stitchville. Other brick and mortar stores may have it. Snow Days. Pam has this hanging on her winter wall. If you wonder what it looks like all framed up. And then I had ordered this in December, Zelda. And she is on my Year of Whips Extreme. And I'm converting her. She has all these pinks. I'm going to convert those to violets for Hodgkin's lymphoma. I'm not sure about the roses yet. If I will do, I love this band. I just really like that about this pattern. But I'm going to convert these to violets in honor for Hodgkin's lymphoma awareness. I have not picked my colors yet, so I have to work on that. But again, she is in my Year of Whips Extreme list, which I will talk about. So I need to set her out. And the 5th, what else did I pick up on the 5th? Oh, Maidenhair. And Barbara Anna Designs, Long May She Wave. This is kitted, or excuse me, charted for DMC. And I thought it was cute. I just dropped my Marine off at the airport. And yeah, patriotic. And this one's also on my list. And then I'll get back to this piece. Story behind it. So on the 12th, when I went, I picked up Lady Slipper because that is the state flower of Minnesota. And Melody. There are 5 in this particular series, the Muse collection. I have 4 of them. I'd like to try and stitch either of them all in the same fabric or literally piece of fabric. I have this idea in my head. I don't know if it's going to work though. They do not look blingy and all that, but when somebody actually stitched one of these and showed you the real thing, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then from Fiberlicious, their fabric of the month, December. I don't know if I showed this. Maybe I did. If I did, oh well. This is 36 count Ice Flowers. This was the December fabric of the month from Fiberlicious. I switched starting in January back to 32 count. I let her, I contacted her in December and said, you know, can I do that? She said, oh sure, no problem. So with a lot of these, you know, one-person shop, just give them plenty of notice. You think, how much notice would you want if it was your shop? And I mean, the worst that can happen is they say no. But this is January's 32 count. It's called Lava Chocolate. Isn't that trying to figure out what to put on this. Yep. And then on the 12th, when I went, or no, I showed what I did on the 12th, right? Yeah, I'm losing it. Then, yeah, I picked this up. Betsy's Tart Plum Street Sampler. It's supposed to be like sepia tones and then have the flag step out. That's why the coloring is the way it is. This is not normally what I'm drawn to, but I really like this one. And I do want to finish it something like this. Yeah. So also, I think I'm going to cut this one here. And then come back and, yeah, do part 2. See you in a bit.